it's about time we learn how to slow down. Collectively. I've been getting this, like, intuitive, encouraging nudge in a lot of areas of my life that I just keep rushing. When I take the time to, because I think as a society, especially around this generation, I feel like we have put a lot of value in our human selves being productive, that we just kind of leave our internal and intuitive self kind of back in the dust, kind of not to be acknowledged or accepted, but we kind of push it to the side in order to keep up with societal standards. There's something that is pushing all of us, or encouraging all of us, to be something in this life. We want success, we want money, we want, maybe it's people that we want, or things. There's something driving all of us, though. And I don't know if we're always entirely conscious of why that's driving us. I think it would be really difficult for all of us to always be conscious of what is driving us. But I do know that it's really important for us to check in with ourselves. To check in every now and again about why we do the things we do. Why, especially, like, why are we so active on social media? That's the biggest thing. I think because our culture and society has made that such a mainstream thing. Like, I've had social media since I was in elementary school. I made my Facebook account when I was in 5th grade, when I was 10 years old. So I've had I've had social media for, like, over half my life now. That's actually really crazy to say. I got my first phone when I was 8. Or I might have just turned 9. So even that, for over half of my life. It's hard to know a life without it, isn't it? I mean, after all of that time of living in a certain way, it seems like if we were to get rid of those things, if we were to get rid of social media, and if we weren't constantly on our phones, that we would be disconnected in a sense. We would be disconnecting ourselves from everything that pulls us away from ourselves, but it's difficult for us to see it that way. And this, leads back into me needing to slow down specifically. But I've been trying to take the time to just be a human without expectations of being productive, without an end goal. Like, I have, at least the past few days, still very much working on slowing down. So when I say these things to you, I'm also saying them to me. But the past 3 days, I've taken a little bit of time each day to sit outside. I get my little towel, sit outside underneath the tree in the shade, and then just close my eyes and take the time to breathe, take the time to listen to the birds, and it makes me realize that there's a whole other world that we are so accustomed to not being in tune to, that, like, most of us don't even know it exists. I've been stuck in this material world for such a long time that I didn't know there was, I didn't know that there was a whole extra, or, like, what do you want to call it, of, like, basically where my intuition lives, right? I didn't grow up being in tune with my intuition. I didn't grow up being in tune with myself in any capacity. I was doing everything that I thought that I should be. And I remember what it was like in high school. In really middle school, because that's when they started pushing college. But I remember what it was like for me to be planning my future. Like, I was so hell-bent on going to college to get a degree that, like, I would Google highest paying jobs with it for a bachelor's degree. Because that's what my primary focus was getting a job to support myself for the rest of my life. Like, that's just that was the most present thing that was being ingrained to my mind. And I was always such a good person, such a good little girl, that I'd always just wanted to do the right thing. So, growing up, I made sure I got A's and B's on them report cards to make my parents happy. I always made sure that I did the right things at home, at school, just to make sure that I was off any kind of radars. I always just did what I was told because I thought I was setting me up for a better future, for a better present. Like, if I can get everybody off my back, then like, we're chilling, right? But living that way just kept me so disconnected from myself. And I remember as a kid, I was so funny. I was such a funny person. That wind is picking up. I was such a funny little kid. And my stepdad growing up didn't like that. He didn't like my sense of humor. He just wanted me to do what I was told, shut up, and so that everybody can get on with themselves. And I remember, like, slowly being having that stripped away from me. And I think one of the last attempts at trying to have a sense of humor in my household was, if he told me to do something, I would say no, but then I would immediately go and start doing it, just to, like, be like, haha, funny. He'd be like, go do the dishes. I'd be like, no. But then I would, like, literally start walking to the kitchen. So it was very obvious that I was joking. But he, a grown man, had a problem with that and would completely freak out if that happened. And I remember that me doing that, saying no, but walking to the kitchen, and then him blowing up, was like the last straw that I did on, like, trying to be funny or, like, trying to have a fucking personality. And then after that, I was just, like, zombie mode. I was just zombie mode, bro. I was really lucky. I don't even know if this is something I should get into. I was lucky to have people in high school that I could be myself around, but at home I was mute. And, like, that was, like, those people were, like, my safe people, and I thank God every day that I had them, because I don't know what I would have done without them. But that was years ago. That was so long ago. And I think that I went so much of my life being disconnected from myself that I didn't immediately recognize that I was out of touch with myself. I was making a lot of unconscious decisions that I eventually slowly started reclaiming. I didn't know what I was following. I just knew that I didn't feel good in those situations. So slowly I started to get my way out of them. But as I've become more in tune, I've learned how to listen to my intuitive nudges, and my most recent one is just to slow the heck down. Slow down. In every single capacity that I possibly can. I feel like when I'm alone, I can be in touch with myself really well. But when I'm around other people, I just get so, like, hyper... I don't know if hyper vigilant is the right word, but I just am everywhere. I can't focus on me in those scenarios. I'm, like, everywhere. I also notice, like, it's just hard for me to sit down in one place without having to do something. Yeah, I cling on to vices, and it helps me to feel better, but it's not helping me stay in tune with myself. Lately, I'm on the road, and I still have to work while I'm on the road. But if there's any, like, downtime that I have, for the first week or two, I wasn't taking, like, my time. I wasn't enjoying where I was at, necessarily. Not fully, anyway. Until the past few days, where I have made myself just sit down in the park and do nothing. Just get in tune with the calm. Get in tune with the peace that is all around me that I so often take for granted. Part of it is the productivity mindset, where if I'm not doing anything, that I am not doing enough, right? Like, even if I am distracting myself on my phone, doing something, I guess it just keeps me out of my head about that I'm not doing enough. That's so annoying. But okay, I didn't come on here to shame myself about all of this. I came here to set a reminder to myself to continue to slow down, to do the things that I want to do. I took this trip so that I can get in touch with nature, so I can get more in touch with myself. And honestly, I enjoy doing these videos because I do feel more in touch with myself when I can get myself to focus on it. That wind. Okay, there's a lot of nudges towards focusing. I even forget that there's calm around me because I am such an anxious person. I forget that it's something that I can tap into. I was in North Dakota and there was a bunch of prairie dogs, like, everywhere. But especially when I stopped at Theodore Roosevelt National Park, there was, like, Prairie Dog Island. There's, like, 2 different ones on the map. Okay, and you could just stop and look at the prairie dogs, and they were so cute. And I just loved watching them because they're just chilling. They're just hanging out, and you could watch them play with their friends and watch them, like, snacking, and then they would hop up every once in a while and, like, look around and then go back down, like. It was the freaking cutest thing, and that helped me to slow down, just sitting there watching the prairie dogs. When I'm outside at the park laying under a tree, I'll just listen to the birds, and that helps me slow down. But I don't know, we're not taught enough about anything to do with our mental and physical health, but especially we're not taught enough about how important it is just to be outside. We are conditioned to be, like, indoor beings from the time we're born. I mean, we all live in homes, of course. At school, that's always indoors, and then you work, it's always indoors. Like, the only time that we were ever encouraged to go outside was, like, during recess in elementary school. So for 5 or 6 years of our lives, it's like, okay, go outside, get your energy out, but then it's like you grow up and then, oh, no more outside time. Like, that's crazy. They take away our outside time? I don't know, like, even in prison they get outside time. We're just not taught enough about the importance of it, and then we think we don't need it, but then we live our lives without it, and we don't recognize the positive qualities and traits that it can offer us. much, even if we just sat outside for like 20 minutes a day. And that's free. So if you're also struggling and you need to find to find ways to slow down, I really, really, really encourage just sitting outside for 20 minutes. Take the time to listen to the birds. Take the time to just listen to the way the leaves rattle outside on the trees, or whatever animals are around you at the time. Just take the time to tune in with them for a little bit, because we're animals too. We're animals just like they are. We just have a bunch of fucking layers of conditioning on top of us, whereas they have been able to maintain their natural nature. We can't go on our entire lives pushing ourselves to meet all of these external expectations. And we put a lot of expectations on ourselves too, especially in the ways of comparison. We see other people that are able to do so much, and we think that we should be able to perform in the same way, and then shame ourselves whenever we can't. We gotta start paying attention to what we really want and why do we actually want it. Like, if our goal is to own a multi-million-dollar business, we gotta think, well, why do we even want that? Or that's just an example, but I don't know. What was one of my goals? I don't even know. Okay, I wanted to go... After high school, I started college for something that I wasn't passionate about, and I dropped out. But for years following that, I always told myself that I wanted to go back to school so that I could have that degree, so that then I could, have a stable income, something that made me happy, so that I could support myself, and yada yada yada. What I wasn't taking into consideration was I didn't actually want to go to school. I just wanted to be seen as more valuable. And I wanted, because I compared myself to the people around me a lot, I wanted to be able to kind of be in the running with them and like be similar to them in a way, so that I could relate to them by having this diploma. That then, like, I wouldn't be seen as less than them. I guess I put myself on like this social ranking of, well, if I don't have this, then that means that I don't have that, or that I don't have the same amount of value, or I want to say the word equity, even though I don't know if that necessarily fits here. It's so hot now. Let's try that. Okay, fuck it. I don't care. Hi, wind. Also, I think the world talks to us in a lot of different ways. And I think by not spending so much time outside, we kind of get disconnected from that too. I don't know. I've heard the term nature is healing like 1,000 times. And it really is. You just have to let yourself go out there and experience it. I think even more so than like going out and taking a hike, because as nice as that is, I also think there's just a lot of value in being still with nature too, and allowing it to shift around you. Because when we're hiking, it's like, oh, we're going to this destination to see this beautiful view, or we're hiking for this experience, for the exercise, like for a reason. I think it's really just as important, really, to just sit and be with it and experience it for what it is. without necessarily having a desired outcome for it. Just to be with it a little bit. It's kind of serves as a reminder that it's important for us to be with ourselves and admire us for who we are. Because we're just as natural. We just kind of forget. We just kind of got lost along the way. And somehow our values became a little bit foggy. But I'm trying to get back in touch with it. Okay. I don't even know what I said in this video and if it was of any substance, but I felt it was important for me to film it and talk about those things a little bit because they're very potent in my life and maybe it was beneficial for somebody else to hear as well. So thank you for listening to me today and I appreciate you. I'll see you later. Bye.